We're live. And we're live. Morning thoughts, morning thoughts, morning thoughts. Shout out to the people going out to work this morning. Kayla C1, thank you for being here. Sonia Unstoppable, thank you for being here. Shout out to the people going out to work this morning. Extra special big up shout out to the people who work multiple jobs. Nicole Bazaar, thank you for being here. Sonia Unstoppable, I said that already. And JJ, thank you for being here. I have a son named JJ. I hope that's not him. He should be in bed right now. Anyhow, shout out to the entrepreneurs, the stay-at-home moms and pops, the retirees. Shout out to every single clean-hearted, good-hearted person who wants good for others as much as they want good for themselves. I have the utmost respect for you. So it has come to my attention that the UK deported. We've talked about this before, right? The destabilization agenda. And I truly believe that this is a part of it. I knew this was going to happen. And it did. But we're going to get into that story in a minute. As soon as I get 100 people in here, I'm going to post a link because this is something good that I want to share with you. So there's this show, this Jamaican-produced, all-cast Jamaican on YouTube. And I want to share it with you because me and wifey been pretty hooked on this since it came out, right? I don't know if you know about it. It's called The Bartender. So here's the link. Click the link and go check out The Bartender. The Bartender is a series rooted in Jamaican culture, rooted in life in Jamaica. I live vicariously through that show. Good show for you to watch. Shout out to Orville Expressions and the whole Expressions family. I'm going to do a full review or promo for that particular show. So stay tuned for that. That will come up at a later date. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for rolling in. Thank you for being here. So this whole agenda, and I call it an agenda, I saw this coming, and I said it before, that these people are going to be deported. Did you know that Jamaica has actually passed 11,000? You remember when I did the video a few months ago, like what, a month ago? A month ago. And the number was not even half of 11,000. And I said, Jamaica is going to hit 10,000 before the year is over. Well, Jamaica has passed 11,000 cases of COVID. 11,000 positive documented cases of COVID. And people are saying there are way more there, but they're just not documented. Some people are treated with bush tea and herbal remedies. Other people are ignoring it because their strain of it is not that serious. And then there are those who had to go seek some medical help because they were experiencing difficulties one way or another. And it turns out that they tested positive, right? So 11,000, we passed over 11,000 cases now. And in a time where this is something where you would say we could have waited for the whole deportation thing. The UK went ahead with their deportation, their chartered flights, and they have every right to throw whoever they want to throw out of their country because it's their country, right? But I'm looking at like humanity and humanitarian beliefs. And if you're not a part of the destabilization agenda, then what is this? I knew that these countries that do deportations were this thing. And I knew that when they did it, they were also going to act as if they didn't do it. And on the back end, what's going to happen is we will see the numbers rise in countries like Jamaica where the deportees keep on coming in. Jamaica had a fairly low number not too long ago. And out of nowhere, the number just shot up to now over 11,000. Somebody touched me on my shoulder yesterday and said, SouFlo, you know, sir, this is also about, you know, the little vaccine, something where I come out and them have to ramp up some fear in the people them, so they couldn't sell them the little vaccine, something where I come out unless the numbers were high enough, because they would see no alarm in it. The people would be like, 200 cases, at 2 point something million of us here. 200 cases, that drop in the bucket. Me not take that something there. But if you put it at 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 in no time, 11,000 and change, then people are going to start to panic because they're saying, blows on skirt, this a spread like wildfire. They have something out there that can protect me. I want some. I want it. You know? And these are other people telling me. And I'm telling you what I'm being told. See? So I'm wondering. Now, the story was printed in many different platforms, but Jamaica Gleaner had it. So a Jamaican who expressed concern last week, and that's another thing about this that I find weird, because to me, he was the most outspoken person in the group of people that were deported. And he spoke in a previous interview recently, right before being deported. He said that this is like a death sentence to him because he's leaving behind a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old and a wife that just had a miscarriage. And he was just scooped up from his home. After serving his time, after thinking everything was good, he was going back to life, right? And he says this is too much on his brain right now. He did that in another interview. He doesn't have any living relatives in Jamaica. He has no connections on the other side. And then he's the one that comes down. News headline flash again. That same individual has tested positive. So a Jamaican who expressed concerns last week that his deportation from the United Kingdom could be a death sentence as he had no known relatives there in Jamaica has now tested positive for COVID-19 after landing last Wednesday. Now undergoing treatment as he serves out a mandatory 14-day isolation. So they're going to keep him in isolation for 14 days. They're going to treat him, right? The Gleaner was told that he was tested for the deadly coronavirus. This is what they told the Gleaner on the other side of the ocean. So this is the UK. They said that he was not tested for the coronavirus. He's not. So isolation. Milton is the guy. Milton said they didn't test them. Other deportees are coming forward to say we were not tested. They didn't test us. So even though they from the other side, that's what I wanted to say. They from the other side are saying everyone will be tested. This is their agreement between government, right? We're not going to send in a bunch of people that we know have it. I promise you. We just need to get these people out of our country, though. And the deal is that you take them back. They're yours because they were born there, but they committed criminal acts here and are seen no longer fit to live in our society. So we have to send them back to you. Here's the deal. We won't send them back with COVID because that's the pandemic. It's going on now, and we don't want to destabilize you. Okay. Why are these people coming out to say that we were never tested? This gets deeper, though, so pay attention to this, right? Now undergoing treatment as he serves out a mandatory 14 days in isolation, Milton told the Gleaner that he was not tested for the deadly coronavirus before he left the UK on a charter flight with 12 other deportees last week. Now, if you remember, I believe it was 57 of them were supposed to be on that flight. They ended up narrowing it down to only 13 leaving, and the rest were saved. They were saved for different reasons. One of the reasons is some of them had came to the UK younger than 12, and somehow the UK and the Jamaican government came to some backdoor deal behind the scenes, which we are hoping they will write into law eventually, that if you came to the UK 12 and younger, then there's no way they should be deporting you. So those people will be saved indefinitely from deportation. Anybody 12 and above, you already know what time it is. At 12 years old, you have knowledge of where you're from. You know your family struggles. You know all that. You know, so when you go at people place, behave yourself and take use of the opportunities available to you. So 12 and above, they would be sending them back, right? In that deal, some people were spared. He was one of them that was not spared, which makes me wonder what the hell did he do? Because he has, I can't imagine taking away a father from a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old and a wife that just had a miscarriage. That's kind of callous. However, he was ripped away and he was sent packing. He was not saved. So I'm guessing he came past 12 years old. And I'm also guessing that his crime might have been one where they see him no longer fit to live in their society. Either way, sending them back, not testing them, I can see this happening. Hey, we're not going to test them. We're just going to send them back just like that. Who are they going to believe? Us versus some criminals? Send them back. And they were not tested. I, for some reason, kind of believe these people that are coming out to say we were not tested. Okay? They just sent us back just like that. So it's no wonder I'm here now and I'm positive. Plus, they had us locked up in a certain way where no precautions were being exercised among the locked up people. So whoever had anything in there was giving it to everybody else to take it to wherever they were going anyways. Speaking from his hospital bed, Milton told the Gleaner that he had not been feeling well for about a week prior to the flight, adding that some persons took off their masks during the flight. Now, I read in another report, which is from the UK, the other report says that Milton was actually in lockup for over a month already before his deportation. So that tells me there's an incubation period of 2 weeks with this thing, with COVID. So if he was in there for over a month and he had it, they should have seen it. He said, yes, I was not feeling well for the whole week leading up to this. He made his complaints to them. He told them he wasn't feeling well. You're in there, COVID is going on, and you're in lockup, and you start experiencing symptoms and stuff, or what you think is symptoms, you're not feeling well. The first thing you're going to do is run to whoever is in charge. Hey, I would start panicking because I would think I have this thing and I'm not in a position to get myself proper medical care. They're more concerned about deporting me. I might die on the flight. I might die as soon as I get there. What kind of care is available to me in Jamaica when I get there? So he was going into the unknown. And I think all this is orchestrated and was done on purpose. That's just, now this is my opinion, but I think it is exactly that. See, he said that during the flight, a lot of people were like, what the hell are you going to do to me? You already deported me. I already did prison time. You already got me on this flight. I'm being deported. Take off this rotten mask. People took off their mask on the flight. And there were people on the flight, according to that other report, there were people on the flight who were coughing violently. They were coughing violently, took their mask off. They were coughing violently, heaving, sneezing violently. As the picture is painted, it would raise red flags for me. Right now, if I'm out in public and somebody sneezes, I notice everybody's head in the room turns towards that person that sneezed. If you're in a grocery store, people are wearing their mask, right? But people are sneezing under their mask. And when we hear, achoo, everybody's attention goes just out of natural reaction right now. So you could imagine a bunch of people on a flight. It was only 13 of them. And all this violent coughing, sneezing going on. That wouldn't raise a red flag to you? Well, people took their mask off during the trip, sneezing, coughing violently. Further adding to his emotional stress is the fact that the mother of his 2-year-old and 3-year-old sons back in Birmingham, England, has had a miscarriage. She was 2 months pregnant at the time of the miscarriage. The authorities there in the detention center simply did not care about any of us. After all, we are criminals to them, right? They didn't even bother to test us, knowing fully well that this disease is deadly and easily transmissible, Milton said. How could that be? Aren't we humans too? Are the people in Britain that wicked that they see us only as criminals? Milton added. Listen, it's funny how history repeats itself. It's funny how history repeats itself. So here we are in 2020 asking about the British, as in, are they that wicked? How could they not see us as humans? Have you forgotten your history? Huh? Have you forgotten your history? That you are here now asking? See, that whole saying about a person with no with no recollection of their past, or know nothing of their past, knowledge of their past, they're doomed to repeat that again, or it will repeat again with you. Are you not aware? You don't have to ask that. Look at your history with the people that you're asking. This particular part struck me. How could that be? Aren't we humans too? Are the people in Britain that wicked, that they would see us only as criminals? Well, history has shown me that yes, they are that wicked to see you as only criminals. Okay, matter of fact, there is a radio show host that is very popular in the UK, and I'm going to find that radio show host. And recently, that radio show host went on his show to say, point blank period, Jamaicans, in general term, he said, Jamaicans are pedophiles, rapists, and criminals. And some of them are here right now. Taking that full statement, Jamaicans are rapists, murderers, and criminals. He didn't say there are good Jamaicans out there that are here, that are working hard, that has helped us to establish this grand stone on which we stand. He didn't say any of that. He didn't say some of them are good people. He said Jamaicans are. Jamaicans are. Remember we talked about generalization yesterday? And I said you can't walk into a room full of white people and say every white person is racist. Because they're not. You can't walk into a room and say every black person is this, because they're not. So for him to make that general statement that Jamaicans are, now for one, of course, I blame it on my people for going overseas, making an ass of themselves, whether you went there young or not, and just not living up to king code, queen code, just not representing well on the global stage. The backlash is that we will get judged based on the worst of our kind. That's just how they do. Because remember, they already are people that don't really see us as humans. We're subhuman to them at some level. That's just what it is. This is not me making this up. It is what it is. We know this to be facts. But of course, we also blame them because they're generalizing. And we know that to be lies. I'm not a murderer, a rapist, a pedophile. And I know many other Jamaicans. I know more Jamaicans that are not murderers, rapists, and pedophiles than I do know Jamaicans that are. And the Jamaicans that are, I've only known through the media. So that's kind of like, wow, you know what I'm saying? But anyhow, I knew they were going to do this. I knew. But for you to stand here in 2020 and still act surprised, you know what one of our biggest issue is? One of our biggest issue, and I've said this before, is we keep on pretending we're surprised at stuff that's been happening before our eyes for the longest time. That in itself, to me, is crazy. It's psychotic. Your conditions have pretty much been the same throughout a long period of time. And you still sit up here and, oh my God, you tell me that they're going to treat us like that? I can't believe it. Are they really that wicked? Like really? We're talking about the same people you're dealing with for forever now. Okay, so he said that we all did wrong. Yes. And we all, for most part, have paid the ultimate price by being incarcerated. Some of them for many years. But to treat us like unwanted animals should be condemned there and here in Jamaica. Milton said that he was gutted, knowing that he can't be with his children's mother to offer any kind of comfort during this time when she has just lost a child, right? It is too emotional for me to even talk about at this moment. I just wish that there to be some comfort to my kids and my wife. She wasn't eating because she was so stressed out over this whole deportation thing. Milton was among the batch, like I said before, of 50 persons initially. Another page said 57, or another channel said 57, another entity. So I go through a couple of British tabloids, or not tabloids, but British news platforms. One says 57, another says 50, another says 53, 54, whatever their numbers are. He was among the batch that was supposed to initially have been deported, and they were spared last week. Well, they were spared. He wasn't. 23 were left off the flight following a volley of successful requests by lawyers. And UK radio host Nick Ferrari is who I'm talking about. So Nick Ferrari has been facing increased pressure to recant this statement that many suggested was racist as a matter dominated public course. This matter has dominated public course. Speaking at the top of one of his morning shows last week, Ferrari suggested that, he not suggested, but this is how they're going to word it. He said that Jamaicans are rapists and pedophiles. Those are the words. I said murderers and whatever else. He said Jamaicans are rapists and pedophiles. Remember, we spoke a couple of days ago about those Jamaican nationals. This is him. Listen, here's the transcript. Remember, we spoke a couple of days ago about those Jamaican nationals being rapists, pedophiles, and murderers. Don't worry. The lawyers there have had their say, aided by some celebrities and a lot of labor politicians, he said. Many of them now currently abide in this country, unlikely to be deported, so probably will be freed. So that's great work by the various celebrities. So fairly soon, there could be a Jamaican rapist pedophile coming to a street near you. If that is not if that is not, I don't even know the word to use. There's some level of embarrassment there. There's clearly a bunch of other things that are involved here. Clearly racism is involved here. He took to his show to remind them again. Remember, we spoke a couple of days ago about those Jamaican nationals being rapists, pedophiles, and murderers? Don't worry. The lawyers, he said the lawyers, because these are the lawyers that were fighting to get these people, because they have a right to legal counsel, right? And to go through the court system to fight their case. If they lose, they lose. If they win, they win. These are the lawyers that he's thrown under the bus. He has also thrown these celebrities under the bus, unlikely to be deported, he said, so probably will be freed. So that's great work by the various celebrities. He's talking about Naomi Campbell and all the other celebrities that ran out last week. They were the ones that were actually, they lent their platform and their voices that actually ended up being the cause that saved all the others that were not put on that flight then. So they weren't able to save the whole 50. Some places say 57, some say 54. They weren't able to save everybody because 13 still got deported, but they saved a lot of them, right? He's throwing them under the bus too. Great job for letting these Jamaican nationals, rapists, pedophiles, and murderers come back to our streets. He's saying they won't be deported, some of them. They're just going to be living here. So pretty soon, one of these Jamaican rapists or pedophile will be coming to your street, a street near you. Clear as day. Yesterday, he followed up those comments with an opinion piece in the Daily Express, saying that the deportation was an attempt to rid this country of dozens of lowlife, none of whom were UK citizens, adding how joyous it would be if some of these vicious undesirables moved next door to the dopey do-gooders who support them so loyally. The UK Home Office described the deportees as being very dangerous criminals and listed murder, rape, drug dealing, and other serious crimes as reasons for them getting the boot. Bishop Desmond Jadu, the chair of the Windrush National Organization, was terse in his commendation of Ferrari's comments, describing it as another devastating blow to people of color in the UK, because they've given him this huge platform and they hold him there in this huge platform, the big sponsorships and all that. And he's allowed to say these things. So what's that going to look like? The average person who listens to that program is probably tuning in to hear that kind of anti-Jamaican, anti-immigrant sentiment, and they'll probably leave full with what they wanted to hear. So they'll just go out and spread that even more. Before you know it, it'll be a hostile environment for Jamaicans, which is what they're trying to create. It'll be a hostile environment for Jamaicans or for immigrants coming into the country. In this particular case, though, this is an arrow straight at the Jamaican community in the UK. For those who are descendants of, for those who went there at a young age, migrated there, etc., etc., this is hostile treatment for them. For us, who will hop on a plane one day and head over to the UK because we like Carnival or Notting Hill Carnival, we like go hanging out with our families, we have family members that are very close there, all that. As soon as you land, you will be treated as such. This statement should have no place in the discourse around deportation in this country. It is racist, and it needs to be called out as such. Mr. Ferrari should be ashamed of himself to even utter those words. That's all they had to say. And they, the only person that had something to say about it publicly, is someone who is actually Bishop Desmond Jadu, who is the chair of the Windrush National Organization. Let's stop being surprised, okay? The British has used us. They have gotten what they wanted from us. You want me to be real? 100% real. Some people say, SouFlo, I love watching the show because you're so real. You just cut it raw. I do. You want me to be real? They have used us. They've used us for centuries. They used us. They've gotten all they wanted from us. And now they need us out of their way. Pretty much. Never mind, though, that the Queen of England is still the head of state of Jamaica. So, they're not giving up. They're not severing the relationship completely. But you see, this relationship must remain master-servants dynamic. This relationship must remain inferior-superior dynamic. This relationship must remain slave master, slave yard dynamic. Ownership versus, they still pretty much own Jamaica, okay? I think Jamaica is being rented out right now to the Hispanic and Chinese, which will bring me to another segment. Somebody said we would be good under Chinese rulership because things are desperate. Things are desperate. Let's finish off with the vaccine thing, not the vaccine thing. Let's finish off with the COVID thing. Then we go into that. I knew they were going to do this, man. And I suspect that many more have already been sent in, because it was right around the time that they opened up the deportation flights started coming in. Don't forget. Remember when our citizens got sent out to sea because the place was closed down? But when Donald Trump said, I don't give a damn if you close down or not, here comes this flight, and sent the flight, it was the voice of the people that said, oh, wait, hold up, Andrew, hold up, whoever else working with Andrew administration, hold up. How come you're going to pause this lockdown, open up now to receive a plane full of deportees from the US, but you won't receive citizens who are law-abiding, tax-paying citizens who went out to work and they were out to sea? that didn't control the boat, the ships that they were on. And by the time the ship turned around and got back, or did its rounds and got back to close to home, you had already locked shop, and you were not willing to make any kind of adjustments to receive these tax-paying, law-abiding citizens. But when the U.S. knocked on that door, pam, 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 plane coming in, you had nothing to say. You just said, okay, I guess we're going to have to deal with this. It was the voice of the people that saw that and said something against it, right? So it was around this same time that the numbers in Jamaica started to spike. It was around the same time. Go back and look at the numbers. Everything is there. That's why sometimes you got to love the internet. Everything is there. Go and look at the numbers from when that first deportation flight came in, and start and look at the numbers. So when England sent theirs, when the US sent theirs off and it was accepted, what happened after? England sent theirs off and it was accepted. And how could you not accept it now when you already accepted the one from the US? And the numbers spiked, and they spiked, and they spiked. And the talk is still, I don't know what you're talking about. We tested them before they left here. They were good before they left here. But as soon as they hit Jamaica, he pops up positive for COVID after complaining of not feeling good. Not feeling good for a whole week before you sent him here. Yeah. Destabilization agenda, very real. Very, very real. And it's so plain, and I'm not surprised. Whoever else is surprised, that's on you. Now, somebody said, segue into this. Somebody said, look, SouFlo, we would be better off under Chinese rule. Because you know the whole talk already is that the Chinese are going to take over Jamaica and all this other stuff. Let me first say this before I go any further. So that those who are of Chinese ancestry, or those who are Chinese that tune into this and they're watching this, you have to put out a disclaimer in Omega Brown. You have to put out a disclaimer. Because these people hear stuff on and they just take a little part of it. Lord, them talk for 1 hour. I don't want to hear that. They fast forward into the middle. They take 2 phrases and they post it everywhere else. Listen what him say. So let me put my disclaimer out there. My disclaimer is this. I admire the Chinese. I do. I admire the Chinese. I admire the Chinese because I feel that they have something that we don't have. I'm even kind of jealous that they have something that we don't have. I don't care who I feel no way. In my opinion, for me, they have something that we don't have. And because of that thing that they have that we don't have, which we are very well capable of getting as well. But instead of putting our resources together, instead of putting our minds together, it seemed like a lot of us prefer to sit back and just blame the Chinese. Me not like the Chinese. Chinese are take over the place. Whoa, Jamaica gone to the Chinese. Listen, it's fair game in a market of fair game. So if the Chinese see something that they want and it's for sale, they're going for it. Worse, they have the money to buy it. They're going for it. Don't blame the Chinese. Blame who's selling the products to the Chinese. See? Now, I admire the Chinese because the Chinese, as you know, very tight people. Their community is very united. There was a study done that followed dollars through communities. And the study showed that the Chinese community was able to keep their dollar circulating in their community for a longer period of time than any other community. That means whatever I want, I'm going to buy it from Ting Ping, because my name is Ling Ling, and Ling Ling and Ting Ping are going to trade. And if I want something else, I go to buy it from Ming Ming, and I'm not going to anybody else. They're good at that. They are good at keeping their money right where it is. And that money is what has allowed them to be able to produce all the things they need and then supply the rest of the world with these same things. So they're not dependent on others. They can manufacture their own things. Oh, ventilators? Yeah, jump in the lab. The world needs ventilators. People are dying from COVID. Boom, China have 1,000 ventilators in like 2 hours. Okay, produce 10,000 more. Now we're going to ship them to the rest of the world because they need them. Look inside your house. Majority of the things that are there you're looking at comes from China, manufactured in China. Even if they were assembled in the country that you're in, like the US, check the parts. Manufactured in China, assembled in the US. Some companies are so slick, they'll have it manufactured in China, and then they'll have them assembled in the US so they could call it US made. But that China had come from same way. Yeah, I admire that about them. And like I said, I'm a little bit jealous because I see where that same mindset could benefit us. But for some reason, we can't get there as a people. You can tell people all day, listen, spend as much in your community as possible. Make some sacrifices. Sometimes you don't need it. You could do without it. If you're going to have to buy it, go find somebody that is of your own. You do all that, and then tomorrow morning, I've seen so many cases, Chinese woman box a little girl, blah, right? Everybody jump around, yo, Miss Chin for dead, everything like that. Guess what? Miss Chin owned the shop in the neighborhood, right? And Miss Chin trust. You remember the trust thing? Trust me, loaf of bread that Miss Chin and a stick of butter and 2 pounds of rice and pound of chicken back and trust. And Miss Chin them, they trust you. You live in that community. They've already studied the community they opened their business in. Them not say you not go nowhere, okay? And you're gonna always come back. So they hold you in servitude like that. So when them slap a box on the little black girl now, blind, ain't nobody do nothing. They talked a lot, but they didn't do nothing because you know, sir, tomorrow Miss Chin is going to be there, and she can easily say, no, trust you nothing, man. Not trust you nothing. You against me. You have to pay. So that's what it comes to. The Chinese, them, are strong because they are united. That's the basis, the simple damn basis of the whole story. So somebody said, SouFlo, I think we would be under better rule if Jamaica fell under the Chinese. Now, I just made a comment earlier where I said Jamaica could be rented to the Chinese because a business, you know, just look at it. Just look at it like a business that someone built that is doing very well financially. There's a lot of money to be made there. And you can lease out your business, rent out your business, but you don't let people get a whole ownership of your business. So the Queen remains the head of state of Jamaica, even though they're flinging out Jamaicans out of the UK like crazy, even the ones who came there at 2 years old and never went back. I don't know if you could imagine how traumatic that is. And yes, we could blame their parents for not getting their papers straight. We could blame all this other stuff. Some of them came there under the whole Windrush, because the Windrush generation also, their indefinite stay also extended to their other close family members, like their children, and in some cases, children's children, right? It was supposed to be an indefinite stay. Citizen. At the time, Jamaica was still under British rule. That was right before they cut British rule and Jamaica got independence. See? So they've used us, man, and they continue to use us. But the Queen remains head of state. So if Jamaica is going to be anything, it is going to be rented out for business. Now, I can't blame the Chinese if them see opportunity there. And Britain is willing to say, hey, okay, hit us this much per month. It's a business, you know. Hit us this much per month, and you can hold it and do what you want to do with it. Flip it, get your money out of it, and when your contract is up, we'll go back in and take back over, and then rent it to the Spanish people or something else. Now, you got to know Jamaica's history, because you have to know that Jamaica was under Spanish rule before. That's why we have the Enriquez, them, and them people there, you know, like Sean Paul, them, and them people there, and a lot of them are there in Jamaica. See, Jamaica was under Spanish rule before. Jamaica was also, like we all know, under British rule before. See, I think at one point Jamaica was under Portuguese rule for a short period of time. or the Portuguese and the Hispanics were. If I don't remember how the thing go, but we've been under rulership of others before, multiple others. So history shows me that this is quite possible that it can happen again. So if we go under Chinese rule, don't expect the Chinese to come out and say, we now rule you. No, they'll quietly work their way into a position of power. And before you know it, when you look up one day, you're going to see, oh, Minister of Security is Chinese. Oh, the head of state for so-and-so is Chinese. Oh, so-and-so is Chinese or married to a Chinese or works closely with. Okay, now I'm going to see it. They're here. Fully taken over. And are running it. Business. Because they have to give it back to England. Or if the business does good, then they can, okay, we'll rent it for another, however long them rent it for. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. And to answer the question, would we be better off under Chinese rulership? I don't want to be kicking myself in the rear for saying this now and then later on it blow up to something else. But how come after all this time of being established, we're looking to go under rulership of someone else still? Are we not capable of ruling ourselves? Are we not capable of ruling ourselves? That's what it seems like to me. It seems like we're incapable of ruling ourselves. You know, it's like a little picnic when you need direction. And any sensible adult could grab that little picnic and say, come on, come here. You out of control. Sit right here. Sit, don't move, don't move. Okay? So, and start directing. That's what it seems like to me. Are we not capable of ruling ourselves? Why are we going to talk about Chinese rulership now? And we're looking at the history shows us British rulership, Hispanic rulership, or Portuguese rulership, Hispanic rulership, now Chinese rulership. And may I remind you that the Spanish people are doing very big business in Jamaica, because I see enough of them resorts there, and not to mention airports. So they don't own the airports, but they control the airports. They manage the airports. So it don't look bad on us. So us citizens can't say, damn, we lost our airports to Hispanic people. That's a big sign. You won't be able to say that because they can say, we maintain ownership of the airport. They're just managing it. All right. So if you give me your store to manage and I start running drugs through the back door of your store, remember, you're not on base while I'm managing the store. You're just trusting that I will give you a percentage of whatever is made because I have money I can invest to take this thing to another level. So you just sit down and collect your kickback. But how my money coming in now, I'm running drugs out the back of your store, but I'm selling food up front. See? That's what Jamaica is there for. That's what it's there for. We don't control our airports. We don't control our seaports. Look at Chinese rulership. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. What I do know about the Chinese is this. I've never seen them damage a nation of people to the point of no return. So the Chinese are this type. They're the type to get in and get their money. And they're not getting in it if it's not beneficial to them. That's everybody in business. I'm not getting into no business deal if it's not beneficial to me. But they don't do cutthroat business as in kill off everybody and take with their things. Or maybe they do. I don't know. What I've seen is that they infiltrate. They infiltrate and they work with. So you feel like you're getting a a part of this good deal, right? That's why a lot of Jamaicans are endeared to them, because they feel like, yo, move on, go. I don't know what US I talk about. China, I put jobs down here. Okay, me and the China man I work, I build them road after about 5 years now. Steady income for my family and everything like that. What? Worse when the name brand them come in and fly in. Where you think me get my Gucci from? And a Gucci, no a Gucci. Where you think me get my Gucci from? And you can't tell some my Gucci are the real thing. And all this, so China man I hook me up in every way. Don't want to hear what nobody else has to say. Can't blame them. Can't blame them, but that's how they do business. That's what I know of the Chinese. They'll work side by side with you. They'll even integrate into the community to the point where you'll start seeing more Jamaican Chinese babies popping up. That kind of stuff. And they'll stay there and they'll work there. And they'll build it. And they'll leave their mark on it. So history will tell his story that the Chinese were here also, and they were dominant here as well. They're more interested in writing history with their self at a superior angle. And they are more interested in dominating globally, but not through warfare. See? So they're very smart. Their move is very smart, and I admire them for that. So the question that I'm beating around, do I believe that Jamaica would be better under Chinese rule instead of British rule? Because make no mistake about it, Jamaica is under British rule. If it's not under British rule, then please tell me why we have the Queen as head of state. It's a simple question. I don't want, when I buy my ticket and I'm coming to England, people, I promise you, if I buy my ticket, right, when things clear up, if I buy my ticket and I head to England, I'm filming everything all the way through. Because if I am met with denied entry, then y'all already know why. See? And they could be very vindictive in ways like this. So I'm not an anti-British person. Let's get that out there clear also. I put a topic on a table and we sift through it. See? And we ask questions. We ask questions. Some of these questions are obvious. Some of these questions are very obvious. So to the question, would Jamaica be better under, let me reiterate. For those of you who are oblivious or don't think that Jamaica is still under British rule, our highest court is in London, England. That means to reach the highest court that governs Jamaica's law system, judicial system, you have to go outside of Jamaica to the UK, to London, England, to the Privy Council. Okay? So if that alone does not tell you, and then the Queen remains the head of state of Jamaica. So the Queen as the head of state and the highest courts are in the UK. What does that tell you? How could you say that you're not under their rulership? How could you say you're not? And then you have your Governor General, which answers directly to the Queen. This is the overseer of that plantation. A somicite. See? So just a little FYI facts for y'all right there. Now to the question, are we better under British rule versus Chinese rule? I know some people are going to say, listen, I've been under British rule all my life. I don't want to go under Chinese rule. You don't want to go under Chinese rule because they're seen as a minority and you prefer being under, say, British rule because they're seen as, I don't know, they resemble Jesus Christ in those pictures that they've given you through your religion. I don't know. Because you know, me I try to make the connection with the mental through slavery, traumatization, a love for your oppressors developed, so on and so forth. What would it be? What is it? And let me ask my audience this, because we have 10 minutes left. So it's a good time to engage the audience. I see a lot of comments. And thank you all for being here, man. These spirited comments in the morning time lift us up, right? Do you think, directly speaking to you, do you think that Jamaica would be better under Chinese rule than it would be under British rule? What says you? So before me give my answer and tie up myself, let me just open up the table for discussion and let everybody put in them piece. What says you? Can't take liberty with China. Jamaica needs to be a republic. Miss J. Rich. All right. How much time did you hear about the CIA coming to Jamaica? You see them 3-letter people, you know, they move different, you know. So when you see people don't mention them because it's been proven already that it's like the boogeyman. You say his name and he appears. You know what I'm saying? Type of thing. So you just don't say them name. Now, some people could say, oh, so you're scared to speak? You're scared to speak up? Well, why don't you make a platform and speak up? I got kids to raise that depend on me. You ain't trying to help none of them if I'm gone tomorrow. SouFLoTV disappeared. Where will you be? So me choose very wisely what I say. Please believe me. Even when you see my mouth running, my brain was running faster. How much times did you hear about? Why not Jamaica rule and just JA rules only? That is what I'm saying. Are we incapable? And if you look at it, if we are under British rule still, based on what I just said to you, then they should have been able to step in by now and fix up certain things that's going on in the country. Like, for instance, England fishbowled London. Why won't they fishbowl Jamaica? It's under their rule. Why won't they help to fishbowl Jamaica? I know some smart person or some bookworm is going to come tell me we are not under British rule, SouFlo. Yes, the Queen is still head of state. Yes, our highest court is in the UK. But we're not under British rule. It is just in theory. Our judges still wear the same gowns and wigs. The law books never changed from colonial times till now. You took the same law books, same law system from colonial times and is governing off of that right now. You never adjusted it. You never scrapped it and came to the table and built something new to benefit today's Jamaicans. So how could you not be? Nora Alman, wow. Somebody says Nora Alman, wow. Okay, that's a hard question to answer. Yes, it is. And I thought about it before I answered it. I'm going to say, no, I don't want to throw myself under the bus. I don't want to throw myself under the bus because I know how these things can come back. And mark my words. And remember, I told you this. I'm going to be going to the UK sometime in the near future after all this thing. We're keeping our eyes on the same thing. A lot of us want to travel right now and can't do it. But I'm going to be going to the UK in the near future. And I want to see. And if it happens, then I know. Then I'll talk about something else then. But I want to see. Anyhow, LS28S says China wants to set up an army base in Jamaica. And also China wants to do more trade in the Caribbean. Okay, China doing trade in the Caribbean? That's fine. China setting up military operations in Jamaica? Not going to fly. It's not going to fly with the US. It's not going to fly. We have spies that represent different nations. We have hackers. We have, what them people are named now? The illegal transporters that gets goods from border to border and through and all this other stuff. So the US is very concerned that Jamaica is 90 miles off its most southern coast. Jump off of Key West, you're 90 miles away from Jamaica across the water. That's it, 90 miles. It's called a triangle. 90 miles to Haiti, 90 miles to Jamaica, 90 miles back this way. See, the US is very concerned about that, and anything can happen. Matter of fact, this is in missile range. Not going to happen. This is in striking range. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why the US is so concerned, because they're right there. So if they become heavy in the influencing of anything in this nation that is so close to them, they're going to start to either say something about it or try to find a way to make sure that it doesn't happen. And we're caught in the middle. Jamaica is caught in the middle. Because who do we side with? IQBN organist says the US would invade Jamaica. I don't think they would allow that to happen either. Thinking strategically from a military standpoint, that would be a big no-no. But you know, we've seen crazy things happen in our lifetime, and I think things are going to get a little bit crazier in the future. And some things are going to happen that we thought 10 20 years from now, a lot of us are going to be pushing up into middle to older age. So we're going to be looking back, and we're going to see these things happen in our present time if we're still alive there then. And we're going to say, wow, we saw this coming, but we really ignored it. Or I always thought this would happen, but people used to semi-chat their foolishness and craziness. To see it happening now, wow. Wow. Nora Alman says, them crazy. No base. They need to stop. Faithy Darling TV, good morning. Thank you for being here. Faithy Darling TV says, Jamaica should be fully independent. Yes, it should. Yes, it should. But for some reason, it's not working out that way. And those who have hold of it, they won't relinquish that hold. You got to understand that this is a money-making place, Jamaica is. Hundreds of billions of dollars flow through Jamaica. And people are getting filthy, filthy rich out of that. You think people are going to give that up? You think people are going to give up their aristocrat lifestyle, their private jets and mansions, their children going to the most opulent schools, rubbing elbows with the other children of parents that are who's of who's? All that is financed off of dealing with not only Jamaica, but other islands and other countries that are seen as third world countries around the world. So that's why I said the relationship must remain master, servant. It must remain superior, inferior. They have to keep that dynamic, that balance. So don't feel like any of them are going to ever do anything in our best interest to see us rise to become equal with them. It's not going to happen. So we're stuck in the middle of these two great powers pulling and tugging and pulling and tugging. Guyanese Doll, good morning. Thank you for being here. Guyanese Doll says St. Vincent PM is a spy. He was feeding info to the Mike Pompeo about Guyana. I know nothing about that. I know nothing about that. I would have to go research that and see Wagwan Dessa. Guyanese Doll also said the Caribbean has no military might. Guyana just bought a few military helicopters. And that is true as well. They all have their little armies and whatnot. That's good enough to like police the place where they live. But as far as military might, where they could like go invade a nation and take over somewhere completely and all that, they don't. They don't have that. Come on. Our law enforcement officials are outgunned by gunmen. Gunmen who somehow, some way find ways to be equipped with weapons that law enforcement officials don't have, that military personnel don't carry. So, yeah, the military power is weak. Weak, at least. At the least word we could say is weak. We could go on and say incompetent. We could go on and say, but let's just stick with weak. So we can't really do nothing, and we can't really defend from anything for too long. Now, don't tell that to no soldier and no police out of Jamaica, you know, because when you're in this field, you are taught to think that you are invincible and can defend anything that comes. But I can tell you this. Watching the Chinese military move, whoo, watching the US military move, whoo, superpowers. Superpowers. In comparison to what we have, it wouldn't take any much effort to topple that if it came to it. So to the whole statement about China wants to build military, but yeah. Could you imagine from China they have submarines that shoot into, or submarines that shoot missiles and they shoot them into the US, or submarines with spies, or just being in that close proximity. Every and anything can happen. But I'll tell you what, you don't want to lick the US chip because you know for a fact that the US is not afraid to go to war. And if the Chinese wants to turn Jamaica into their war ground to fight the US there instead of fighting them in China to save their own citizens and use us for collateral damage, I don't know, sometimes some things just slip out. Maybe I heard people say that. I don't take no account. See, I'm just saying, look, strategically and intelligently think about this. Think about it. Rising Phoenix says we are divided. We can't run our own countries, much less be a joint nation. That's facts. That's facts. There were talks about, let me see, what do they have out there right now that joins the Caribbean islands together to form their own? Because the Caribbean islands alone, if joined together and were trading back and forth with each other, them manufacture this, we manufacture that, we do trades that way, taking their products equally, they take in ours. Our citizens are able to go freely in between all the islands or whatever. If we established something like that, then we could be a powerful force. Remember, the US, the USA is 50 states that decided to come together and form one country. Now, I'm not saying all the Caribbean islands need to come together to form one country, but they could come together to form. They have CARICOM. Is it CARICOM? They should be able to come together to form one body entity that stands to represent a region. CARICOM is fake. Later on today, I'm gonna end this one right here, but I'm going to do a video about Trinidad Jamaica relationship. I'm going to go into details. So please, when you listen to my videos, some people listen to the video them and they're like, oh, you talk too long. And this, I have to talk long. I have to talk long. So when I do this video about the Jamaica Trinidad relationship, it's going to open up a lot of stuff. Somebody just said CARICOM is a fake. CARICOM is involved in this as well, but not just CARICOM. And I'm going to show you some things because there's something brewing, bubbling with Trinidad and Jamaica that I think everybody needs to put their eyes on right now. Okay, and I'm going to leave it right there. Just wait for the video to come out and you'll see the video. Manners and respect to my people, thank you for being here this morning. I'm going to post this link one more time. I'm going to tell you about something nice to watch. So the link there, we're talking about the bartender. Again, shout out to Orville Expressions and his whole crew. The bartender. If you want something to watch that is fun, that is Jamaican, that is interesting, it will grip you. It will have you waiting for the next episode. Like, please send it on now. So, because I'm enjoying it that much and wifey is enjoying it that much, this is now one of our things that we sit and watch together. Like, babe, then put out new episode. Yeah, the new episode dropped last night. All right, man, I'm going to go fix something for both of us to eat. And we're going to sit down and we're going to watch it together. It's become like that for us. So it's another case of us highlighting not the negative, because Lord knows we spend a lot of time on the negative stuff. But it's only because we have best intentions, right? But let's spend some time on the positive as well. And the people, let's uplift those who are doing positive as well that represent us. We can't just stick to the negative all the time and then expect people to look at our platform and see good when all we talk is negative. So I'm giving you these links and I'm telling you, go enjoy it. And by you going to enjoy it, you're uplifting multiple people. And I'll explain later on what I mean by you're uplifting multiple people just by simply clicking and supporting. So when I ask y'all to click and support sometimes, it goes way deeper. Okay, I posted the link one more time. Anyways, the bartender. It's SouFLoTV. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below. All these things. Have a wonderful day, man. Don't go through life blinded. Stop being surprised at things that have been happening in front of us on repeat for the longest. Nothing should surprise you anymore. But it's worth the conversation so we get an understanding of what going wrong with, right? Blessings. I'm out. Peace.